Well, folks, welcome to another Friday fishing forecast. And it looks like it's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend this weekend. The winds are going to be light, temperature's going to be right, everything's lining up. We've got some great tides, we've got some great salooners. So if you're not planning on going fishing, you might want to change your plans because it is going to be absolutely beautiful. And as you saw in my last video where we talked about wind forecast and how we go about planning our trip when it comes to winds, as you saw in that video, it went from being very choppy to laying down completely in the afternoon, and it made a very pleasurable ride coming back in all the way to the office. So it was absolutely beautiful. It was a little rough in the morning, I will give it that, but it calmed way down. So if you haven't seen that episode, you might want to check it out. It's called, I think, Going Light, offshore Tampa Bay, or in rough conditions. I'm sorry, Going Light in rough conditions. But like I said, the weather's going to be beautiful. The fishing is dynamite. The bait is starting to show up on all the markers. I went and caught bait for the shop, and I threw 3 times. One time was at one marker, and I wasn't getting them up like I like. So I went to another marker, got the bait up. I used my little splash well routine of where I threw my chum into the splash well, and every time a wave would come in, it would disperse the chum. So I was able to disperse chum while I was loading the net and everything else. Sometimes that's a key thing, to be able to keep flowing that chum to those bait fish to keep them up in the water column, especially if you're in deep water. So find different ways to be able to disperse chum without having a second person. It's huge. I've learned a lot of little tricks over the years, and that was one that I just learned probably about 8 months ago. And if it's a little bit choppy, it works great. If it's flat calm, it doesn't work very well because it doesn't go out the scuppers because there's no water coming in. But if there's a little bit of chop and there's water coming in those scuppers, I'll definitely do that technique. Let's go ahead and talk about the tides and salooners for this weekend and what we have in store. On Saturday, we have a low tide at 8:11 a.m. at a negative 0.2 foot. Then we have a high tide at 2:12 p.m. at a 1.5 foot. Then we have another low tide at 8:16 p.m. at a negative 0.1. On Sunday, we have a low tide at 8:36 a.m. at a 0.1 foot. Then we have a high tide at 2:33 p.m. at a 1.7 foot. Then we have another low tide at 9:13 p.m. at a negative 0.3 foot. For the salooners, we have a minor feeding time from 7:27 a.m. to 8:27 a.m. And we have a major feeding time from 1:15 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. And on Sunday, we have a minor feeding time from 8:02 a.m. to 9:02 a.m. Then we have a major feeding time from 2:06 p.m. to 4:06 p.m. So those are the tides and salooners for this weekend. And like I said, the weather's going to be absolutely beautiful. Very light winds. So if you can get offshore, it's one of those days or one of those weekends where you can get offshore. We're definitely going out on Saturday. Also, just to let you know, there is the boat show this weekend at the Tampa Bay Fairgrounds, the Tampa Bay Boat Show. I've got quite a few friends, some sponsors going to be there. I've got Drew from Boat Eye 360 that's going to be there. I've got Dropout Cast Nets is going to be there. Nick from Dropout Cast Nets, he's got some really good deals, and so does Drew. He's got some specials running on his night vision camera, the Boat Eye 360. And if you have not seen that in person, you definitely want to go and check him out. Again, Nick from Dropout Cast Nets is having some great deals. Ken Robertson, who used to be with Sunray, who's been fishing with us many times, he's with Family Boating Centers. They'll be at the fairgrounds with the Twin V, with Pathfinders, Tidewaters, all that stuff. So they'll be there. My friend Matt from Bait Shark will also be there. So if you guys aren't doing something, if you're not going fishing this weekend, or at least one of the days, I'm going up there on Sunday with my wife. But if you get a chance, if you're looking for a boat or any neat marine products, go check my buddies out at the Tampa Bay Boat Show at the fairgrounds this weekend. It's free admission. Only admission is to park, so it's a pretty good deal. Again, if you guys get a chance to go out there, go and see some of our friends. again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all of the support. Can't say that enough. The shop is getting busier and busier and busier, and we really appreciate that. We've got tons of bait in stock. We have white bait, we have we have shrimp, we have all the frozen bait, we have fiddler crabs. I just went to a flat and looked for pinfish. I really didn't look too hard. Didn't see a lot of grass, to be honest with you. So that wasn't very good, but I know it will come back. It's still a little chilly. Water temperature right now is 69 degrees on the flat, so it is getting warmer. I think after this week it's supposed to warm up. There's one day it's going to get cool, but the rest of the time it's going to be warm. So spring fishing is really good. The trout bite is still unbelievable. I'm hearing all kinds of reports, people coming to the shop, and they're catching trout after trout after trout after trout. Haven't heard much about the snook bite. Haven't heard much about the redfish bite. I know the mangrove bite offshore has been pretty good. I've seen some. I know the sheepshead bite has been decent. So a lot of stuff going on. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all of the support. We can't say that enough. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.